big, and I'm going to find the name of this person on YouTube. I'm going to reference someone on this video, and I want to do that now. So her name is Alyssa Alter, Alter. I don't know how many uploads she has. She has at least 66. I know that. And it has to be a lot more than that because this video was um, episode 66, but it was uploaded on March 19th, 2023. So I don't know if this person uploads once a week or every day, but this upload was done quite almost a year ago. And episode 66 is the brain vagina connection. I am getting right into it. Her name is Alyssa Alter. And if I can, I don't know if I'll be able to or not because I'm still learning YouTube. YouTube has changed so much since 2008. If you used to follow me back in 2009, 2010, 2011, I was on this quest to find out who I was, spiritually speaking. I declared myself an atheist in 2013, and I noticed I became a very angry person and just didn't, even the word God offended me a lot. I'm not like that anymore. But back then in those days, YouTube was simpler. It's a lot. It's a big beast now. There's a lot for me to learn if I'm gonna go this route and create a Patreon account. Um, so I would encourage you, if you are wanting to dive deeper into who you think you are and you want to really get to know yourself, and you want to listen to my videos because they are going to be about sex. They are going to be about the woman's body. They are going to be about tuning into your body. They are going to be about the vagina. They are the videos that I'm going to be doing is about the relationship with yourself first because how can you have a really good relationship with anybody outside of yourself if you don't have that relationship with yourself first? So, if you do want to go down this route with me, then I would suggest you listen to episode number 66, The Brain Vagina Connection from Alyssa Alter. If I knew how to add it on this, on my computer, um, then I would add it. But I got my phone here, and here's the share button. But yeah, I gotta find out how to do that and everything like that, so I can share it in the description box. Because she talks about the brain vagina connection, and my question in her comments was, "What about the heart vagina connection?" Um, so uh, I did something. I don't think I've ever done this before in my life. I'm 48 years old and I don't ever remember doing it. And if I did, I forgot. But guess what I did? I wrote a letter to my vagina. I did. I just wrote, I put a timer on. It was 10 minutes, and I think I was done. I think I got everything out that I wanted to say in like 7 minutes. And it wasn't even, I don't even think it was a full page. Don't even think so. So I would encourage everybody to uh, write a letter to your vagina. But I also would say write a letter to your heart as well. Um, I I'm a Cancer. My sun sign is Cancer. My moon sign is Leo, and my rising sign is Aquarius. And I am figuring out now at the age of 48 that I really require a lot of me time before I go to work. And I wish the sun got up earlier. I really wish we didn't have this forward, backward, and we just go back to standard time when we have more uh, light during the morning hours and less light at night. Um, because I do consider myself a morning person, but I'm going to have to start changing up some things in my personal life because I do listen to my heartbeat, and it is a very big um it's not just a fetish, it's more than a fetish. It's like a connection, it's a spiritual connection. um and there's a link there. There is some type of spiritual link for me. Maybe it's unrealized for many people. um I would say maybe more Americans are disconnected from their body or their intuition. But for me, there is a direct link between the heart and the vagina. And I am going to have to spend way more time in this spiritual sense before I leave for work, because I used to leave for work at 7:30. I used to leave at 7 well, I used to leave at 7:45, and I realized that wasn't a good time because I was caught in all this traffic in August. So and I started the job in May. So there wasn't like too many people driving their kids to school in May. Something happened in August. Maybe it was just the first month of school. I don't know. Maybe kids are scared in the month of August. I don't know. But all the parents were leaving at 7:45 when I left, and I was like, "No, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing a 20-minute drive, 2 hours to the 215." So I started leaving at 7:30. And I was like, "Yeah, that's better because 17, 18 miles, 20, 25 minutes." But that particular week in August of 2023, whatever week that was, it took me 20 minutes just to drive 2 miles east to the 215. And I said, I'm not going to drive on Highway 74, 4th Street, 2 miles east just to get to the 215. 20 minutes, 2 miles, and then the rest of the way, 20 minutes, 15 or 16 miles, which would be a 40-minute drive. I said, I am not doing that. That is not worth my time. So I chucked that and started leaving at 7:30. And what I noticed was that was ridiculous. I wasn't giving myself enough time in the morning. And now it's like, yeah, now I leave at like 8:15. Um, and what I was doing was parking. I was like literally parking in the Costco parking lot before I go into that Verizon kiosk and just giving myself a little bit of because I do not like sales, guys. I do not like sales. It drags my soul down to the pits of of hell and back. And when I go into work, it's a drag on my soul. Selling phones, selling tablets, selling watches, VHI is not a passion of mine. Talking about sex, talking about the body, talking about the heart vagina connection, talking about the shame, getting it out there, making sure that I am doing my own work because I don't want to tell other people to do this work if I'm not doing it. That's not that's not what I want to do. I want to do my own work and I want to create an empire of women that have been changed, that really tune into themselves and really know themselves. And in order to do that, you're going to have to cut through the shame. You cannot be ashamed of your body or you know do this stuff, do this internal work with holding on to the shame. And I let go of a lot of shame last year. There was a lot of shame that I put out there. I'm going to share this. It's already on was it I think it's on is it on Facebook? I think it's Facebook. I don't think it's on TikTok. I don't do TikTok videos anymore. But um there's just something that needs to be released in me. And I'm editing my book again. And I got to, I think, page 13 or page 14. This is the second time around that I'm editing it. And it's like 33 pages, and I'm not done with it yet. But it goes into all this shame, and it goes into a little bit of my history, a little bit my mom's history, just to give people a picture of where my mom like how my mom was raised, and my grandmother, and all the stuff that happened when my mom was a child. And I didn't want to make the whole book about that. I just wanted to give people a starting point of, oh, okay, now I understand why Sandra's like this and why Sandra has these beliefs. But and my mom really didn't really want to talk a lot about sex to me. Um I I don't think my mom really felt comfortable talking about sex to me. It it seemed as though she was embarrassed, and maybe, I don't know. I'm not a parent, so I can't say if other parents are embarrassed when their children ask them questions about sex. But I remember my mom, um it she had this look on her face when I want to say I was 10, maybe I was 12, and I already had sex ed. I mean, I remember having sex ed in 5th grade, and I was 10 years old. And I remember having sex ed in 11th grade. I mean, 10th. Sorry, I was 11 years old in 6th grade. So I had it in 5th grade. I had it in 6th grade. And then we had it again in, I want to say, like, was it 8th grade? And then 9th grade. And then maybe 10th. Um, but it kept on repeating and repeating and repeating. And I want to say the first time was 5th grade, 10 years old. And even though I was like listening, I must have tuned out. I must have tuned out. I'm not sure, because I had all these questions about the male anatomy. And I'm thinking maybe I tuned it out when I was in 5th grade, at 10, because I was molested when I was 6 years old. I was kidnapped and molested when I was 6. And maybe I didn't want to think of that male anatomy while in the sex ed class, because I didn't want to remember the kidnapping that had happened. And I was gone for, like, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour. It wasn't, no, I wasn't gone for no 2 or 3 hours. But uh, I remember asking my mom, how is it that men can have these big, huge body parts in their underwear? How does it fit? And I don't even think I said penis when I think I was 12, 10 or 12. And I just asked my mom, how do they fit in their underwear if it's this big old thing? And she said, oh, okay, yeah, yeah. And she goes, well, her eyes popped out, and I think she was really um embarrassed. And she kind of went, oh, it gets really big. And I go, it does? And she goes, yeah, it gets really big. And I just looked at her like, okay. And I go, okay, so you telling me if it gets big, then it gets small? And she goes, oh, yeah, it gets really teeny tiny. And I go, and that's how it fits in their underwear. So it's not like not in the way. And she said, yeah, it gets really big and then it shrinks. And I said, okay. And that was the end of the discussion. That was it. It was just a look on my mother's face. It appeared to be like she was embarrassed to talk to me about that. And my mom learned everything from books. The book that I'm writing, goes into the whole story of my mom and her mom, and the whole my grandma being a social drinker, and my grandma marrying a gay man, and my grandparents stayed together long enough to have a love child, and that love child was my mom, Carol Woodruff. Um, and uh, you know, just the whole just the whole conversation that lasted 30 seconds or a minute with my mom, it just seemed like she was very uncomfortable with that topic. And my mom, I asked my mom, because she had the rheumatic fever when she was a little girl, how did you learn if you were in the hospital all the time with the rheumatic fever? Because She'd be playing. This is the 1960s, guys. My mom was born in 1952. So I asked my mom, if you were home and you were playing like after school and you were home and you were playing, and my mom's sister, her half sister, was like 18 when my mom was born. So by the time my mom was like 6, 7, 8, my aunt, her half sister, was already out of the house. Her sister was like, I don't know, 24, 25, 26 when my mom was 6. So when my mom got sick with rheumatic fever at the age of 2, she would have these random episodes where she would just get a high fever of like 106, 105, and she would just pass out, be playing, and then pass out. And then my grandma would hear a thump and then take my mom to the doctor or to the ER, where my mom would spend, I don't know how many days, weeks, days, I don't know how many, but I I think from my mom's deceased. I can't ask her now. She died in 2018, but I think my mom spent weeks in the hospital recovering from 105 fever. She wasn't spending a few days. It was weeks. And my mom felt more comfortable with the nurses and the doctors than she did with her whole entire peer group. Um, and it goes into this in the book that I'm writing. She didn't feel comfortable around children. And I guess, I don't know, I guess she lived in a black part of the community in Long Beach. I'm not sure. I wish my grandma was alive. That way I could have asked her these questions when I was growing up as a teenager, but my grandma died when I was 3. My mom was 25, and my grandma was hit either by a drunk driver, or the sober driver hit my grandma, um, because the sober driver was trying to avoid the drunk driver. So it was either the sober driver or the drunk driver hit my grandma, and my grandma died instantly when she was like 66. But I was 3, so I don't remember my grandma Frankie White. I don't remember Frankie White, my grandma, at all. I have pictures, but in the memory, I do not remember her. And had she lived, I would have picked, as a teenager, I would have picked my grandma's brain. Had she lived to be like 76, I would have been like 13 when she passed. And I would have gotten to know my grandma more. But apparently, my grandma went to the school district and told them that my mom cannot go to this school, whatever school it was. I don't know. I don't know the name of the school. I just know it was in Long Beach. And my grandma was like, my daughter cannot go to that school. And this may sound like bad, but this is just what my grandma said. My daughter can't be in the school because there's too many black people, and my daughter gets sick often and she's in the hospital, and she needs to be around white children. And you know it sounds, because it was the 1960s, guys, okay? It sounds as if my grandma was like racist because it was the 1960s, but my grandma was just trying to protect my mom, her daughter, from, I guess, what you could say, for a lack of a better word, is trauma, because my mom did not trust other children. She did not feel comfortable around white children. She did not feel comfortable around Asian children. My mom did not feel comfortable around girls, boys, if they were black, if they were white, if they were Asian, if they were American Indian. It didn't matter. My mom did not feel comfortable around children because she spent so much time in the hospital. She felt safe and comfortable, and she trusted adults, specifically nurses and doctors. And to me, that's really sad. That's really, really sad. If you are so sick, or if you have a child that is so sick, that is around adults, and they do not have a outlet to where they could be around children. Now, nowadays, I'm sure that if there was a parent that had a child with rheumatic fever that was in the hospital for weeks, weeks at a time. I'm sure that the hospital now would make a program to where that child would have some type of integration and play with other children. So they are in their peer group, and they're with other children being exposed to other children and being exposed to playtime. But I guess my mom didn't get that growing up, when she was in the hospital, because she spent so much time in the hospital. And then my mom grew out of the rheumatic fever when she was 12. And um, I don't know if it was an elementary school. I don't know if it was a middle school, or I don't know. I guess it was a high school. I guess that's what it was. I guess it was a high school, because my mom went to Woodrow Wilson High. And um, my mom claims that it was her mom that saved the day, because the school board listened to my grandma and said, okay, we'll allow this child to go to this school. It was predominantly white, and my mom graduated in 1970. But apparently, where she lived, she was supposed to go to that other school, which was predominantly African American. And my mom did not. Whatever school that was, I don't know, but she did not go. And um, because my mom learned so much from books, I think my mom kind of, in a way, that molded her to be very shy in speaking about these personal things. But not only that, not only I think was it the whole being kind of, my mom was kind of raised by doctors and nurses in a way, because she was 2 when she got rheumatic fever. But she was also raised by like an absent mom, because my grandma went out to drink with my grandpa, which was a gay man, and my grandma and grandpa were not good lovers but very good friends. And they stayed together long enough for my grandma to get pregnant with my mom. And not only did my mom, like, I guess the shyness came about because my mom had that, she had to have education some way, so she went to encyclopedias to learn. My mom learned about sexual diseases, she learned about sex, she learned about drugs. My mom learned about history from everything, from going to encyclopedias. She just read. And of course she was scared as a child, not knowing when her mom was going to return back from her wherever she was. My mom didn't know where her mom was, but my mom knew my mom's not home. I don't know when she's gonna be home. I mean, my mom was scared. I asked her about that before she passed, when I was in my 20s. And but back in the 60s, you didn't talk about sex. We did not talk about sex in the 1960s. And not only that, you couldn't mention that you were a gay man in the 1960s. You couldn't mention that. Um, so, uh, yeah. So I don't know when my grandma and grandpa met. Probably in the late 1940s. But my grandma was like, I'm gonna say she was like 40 something, 42, 41. My grandpa was like 20. So my grandma was a little cougar. She really wanted those young men. And I guess according to my father, uh, my grandfather's, my mother's father's mother, so paternal, my maternal side, because my grandpa, his mom, and I don't even know her name. I'd have to go back in the records and see. I have paper records. I haven't done a 23andMe yet and all that. Um, Whatever her name was, my grandpa's mom was like egging him on, like, marry this woman. You need to marry this woman, and you need to make sure you get with Frankie White. And um, I guess my grandma like had like a farm, and maybe they were rich or something because of the farm. I'm not really sure, or I'm not sure what it was. My mom's not here. I can't ask her, but somebody in the family was egging one of them on. Either somebody was telling my grandma to marry Ernest Woodruff, or somebody was telling my grandpa, you need to marry Frankie White. And I have a feeling that if it wasn't for whoever that was, if it wasn't for that person egging them on, then my mom probably wouldn't have been born. Um, I'm not sure if my grandpa like knew he was gay before he married my grandmother, but um, the marriage didn't last very long, and you know, my grandpa had a boyfriend named Alan in the 80s, and I don't know when he met Alan. Maybe he met him in the 70s. I'm not sure, but I believe Alan died of AIDS, and I want to say it was like 1985, 1986. I could be wrong, but I believe Alan died of AIDS, and um, who would my mom be had she not had rheumatic fever? Had she not had a mom that went out to the bar to socially drink with my grandpa? And had she not been basically raised from doctors and nurses and adults, who would my mom be, and who would have she had become had she not had that? Because you just didn't talk about sex in the 1960s. And I I think maybe if my mom was a little bit more comfortable talking about that stuff with me, maybe I would have came out with this sooner, because this internal thing that I have has been gnawing at me since 2011, guys. I have been wanting to lead a movement since 2011 where it is a big, huge thing for women to go within themselves and find their true sense of self. And um, I don't have my stethoscope, but I think I've said it before in my videos that is a very big, powerful weapon for me. And it's more than a fetish. It's more. It's like a spiritual device where I connect with my heart. And um I did this painting not quite a year ago, so 4/28/23. Um, this this is really some deep shit that I painted a year ago, or not quite a year ago, and I should probably like uh, frame it and put it on a wall. But it says, "Right about now, you are about to be possessed by Sandra Gregston." It says, "Fuck me, be gentle, heal." I'm just gonna read: self-respect, lean in, faith, cry, weep, open heart, grow, trust, self. Am I good enough now? Let's talk about sex, how you like me now, as a man farts. See, this was when I was contemplating, do I want to be with a man? So, and you can fantasize about men all you want. If you're a female, you can fantasize about men all you want. Doesn't mean you trust them. Just because you have a fantasy about a man doesn't mean you're going to really, really trust him. So I was just thinking of what would it be like to be with a man, and that's why I drew all these wonderful penises. So there's another one right there, and then I don't know, where's it at? Ugh, there's another one right there. So it says, lean in, stethoscope, faith, do this work. Is it good to you? Where is your head? What's that one say? I want to get freaky with you. Why do you think, who do you think you are? Fucking A, this is work. Also horny. Cry, weep, hairy fucking balls. Um, and as a man farts, I mean, that was just something that happened all the time with my mom talking to my stepdad. Um, who says sex is not spiritual? Who are you? The abyss. So I drew a vagina there, but and then I wrote this long letter to myself. This long letter, and if you are a person that is codependent, if you are looking outside of yourself for validation or um something outside of yourself that says you are worthy of love, if you are looking for permission to be someone or looking for permission to do something, or if you're looking for permission to be a certain way from someone else, um, a people pleaser, if you are saying yes when your heart is saying no, and maybe you don't even know what your heart wants because you're not tuned into your heart. You're just doing, and you don't even know what you truly want because you're not living from here. You're living from here. So if you're codependent and you're a people pleaser, and there's a lot of people out there that know about AA and NA, and it kind of makes me sick in a way because all these people talk about alcoholism. Guys, let me give it to you straight. The other end of a marriage, when you have an alcoholic over here, there is a people pleaser that always people pleases the alcoholic. So if you got somebody over here that is people pleasing and basically bowing down to the alcoholic, that is the codependent alcoholic marriage. Codependents often attract someone that is a alcoholic or a drug abuser of some sort. And there is so much around AA and NA, it kind of makes me want to puke because they say, "Oh, I'm an addict. Oh, I'm an addict." Stop putting it out there that you're an addict. Stop affirming that you're an addict. Stop it. I mean, that's why I stopped going to CODA meetings. Oh, I'm a codependent. Oh, I'm a codependent. And I was like, why do I want to keep on affirming that I'm a codependent? I want to get the fuck out of this codependency. I want to stop. Well, the only way to stop is to affirm it that I am healing this heart of mine and I am not codependent anymore. That I am healing this internal heart of mine, so I'm not a people pleaser and I'm not doing things to look for validation for other people. And I'm not looking for like a permission slip from other adults. So I wrote this letter to myself on this canvas, and it says, "Dear me, I'm sorry that I didn't see you as you really are, and I put you last, and I devalued you. I'm sorry that I left you out of my life. I will always put you first, and I will pay you first. No more putting others on a pedestal. No more of that. You are great in all of your glory. Rise up, get up, see your worth. You are worth more than you give yourself credit for. I am proud of you. I love you." Sandra, 4/28/23, almost a year ago. Um, and this thing that I want to do has been brewing for 2011, guys. I mean, this is huge. And I encourage anybody that is still listening, buy a stethoscope. If you have to, go online and buy a kid one. They work. I think the last one I bought, I want to say it was like $60 to $80 online. Um, that was probably back in 2000. I'm going to say 2015, 2016, maybe 2018. It was like $50 to $80. I bought another one way back. I bought a stethoscope way back in like 2004. Yeah, because Peter died in 2004. So it was before 2004 because February he died February 5th, 2004, and it must have been 2002 that I had that stethoscope. Yeah, because it was way back when I went to MSJC, and that stethoscope was probably like, I want to say 25, $30 back then on the college campus. So if you want a really good one, I mean a cheap one, you're going to be paying $50, $60, but get a kitty one. You can get a kitty one. Listen to that heart. And there's two ways, because you can listen literally, but you can listen spiritually. And I'm going to have to spend more time in the mornings. Like I said, I used to leave at 7:30. I used to park at 8, and I would do whatever between 8 and 9 a.m. in my car at the parking lot. So between like 8 and 9, I would read or I would meditate. So maybe I would read for 30 minutes and then meditate for 30 minutes. And now I don't leave at 7:30. Now it's like, I mean, it was crazy. I was getting up like at 5:30, 5:45, and leaving at 7:30, and then getting there at 8, and then not walking into work until like 9 or 9:15. And now, instead of getting up at 5:45, I sleep in to like 6:10 or 6:15, and then I leave at like 8 or 8:15. Because if I leave at 8:15 and I don't make a stop for gas or get any like Red Bull or anything like that, then if I, park by 8:45, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with parking by 8:45. I'm not going to be late. And I'm knowing now that getting up at 6:10 or 6:15 is it when I leave at 8:15, getting up at 6:10 or 6:15 isn't early enough for me. I am a sun Cancer. I need a lot of me time. And if I need 15 or 20 minutes to listen to my heart spiritually and ask it what it needs, and then get my stethoscope out and listen to my heartbeat, and then tune into my vagina and say, what do you need? What are you trying to tell me? And ladies, I'm going to go there. I'm not just talking about I need to be fucked. I'm not just talking about I need a penis in me, or I need someone to fuck me, and I need to go out now on this dating website to get a hookup. I'm going deeper than that. I'm going much deeper than that. That's great if you want to go out and have sex and get a hookup. That's great. If that's your thing, great. I'm not the type of person to do that. I'm just not the type. I want to trust you before I fuck you. I do. I really do. I really do not. I'm not there yet where I can just go out and fuck someone and not trust them. It's probably because of what happened to me when I was 6 and being kidnapped. But I'm talking about really getting to know your body and really understanding it. There are things that are coming down the pike that I'm headed for menopause, and this perimenopause blows. The perimenopause blows. I don't like it because I never know when my period's coming. It could be a 50-day cycle. So I'm just carrying around a pad with me all the time. But I ain't gonna wear no diaper every day just in case I start bleeding. I mean, for women that are further along the path than me, and they haven't had a period in like 5, 6, 7 months, 8 months, and then they're on their 11th month. I haven't had a period for 11th month, and then bam, they start bleeding, and they're like, oh shit, not to start all over again. Because instead of going 365 or 375 or 385 or 395 days without a period, they go 300 25 or they go 320 days and they're like, damn, I was so close. And then they got to start all over again because menopause, it ain't menopause when you haven't had a period in 5 months. That ain't menopause. That's perimenopause. It ain't menopause when you haven't had a period in 7 months. That's perimenopause. It ain't menopause when you haven't had a period in 10 months. It has to be 12 months or more. If it's been 12 months or more, that's menopause. I'm already having hot flashes, and God forbid that my horniness is taken away. Because guess what? I like being horny, guys. I like being horny. I like it a lot. But what I'm talking about here is much more deeper than I'm horny. Let's get a fuck. That's surface stuff. That's great. Eminem talks about that, in his songs. He talks about sex. There's a lot of people that sing. Their songs are about sex. There's a lot of people that have really great sex appeal. Prince being one of them. It's probably one of the best musicians that has it to me in the last 30 40 years 40 years has one of the greatest sex appeal is Prince. Thank you for being true to yourself. But I'm going deeper than that, and I don't like this perimenopause because sometimes there's a cycle that's 18 days, man, and I'm like, shit, what happened to every 26 27 days, man? What do you need to tell me, vagina? What do you need to tell me, vajayjay? There's something here that I'm not getting because I ain't talking to it. I ain't talking to this thing down here. And it's trying to tell me something. Something is going on. And there is a vagina heart connection. Just like this woman on this, Alyssa Allister, she talks about the brain vagina connection. It's right on her, I don't know if you could see, but can you see? It's kind of not clear, but yeah, it's not clear at all, is it? Wow. That's really bad. But it's episode 66. And once I find out how to copy it, I will share it on this let me see if I can do this, because if it will work, then great. I'm gonna do this. Boom, boom. Okay, so I am gonna get off here because it's a very long video. I went into a lot of history about my grandma and my grandpa and how he was gay and my grandma and a lot of history and I didn't need to go into, which it's gonna be in my book. I just gotta finish editing it and spend a good 30 minutes a day on my book editing it, especially on weekends. If I can do an hour and a half every Saturday and an hour and a half on Sunday editing my book, then I can get it proofread. And then somebody could say, hey, take this out. Take this out. You don't need this in it. You don't need this in it. So I would encourage you, ladies, if you have a vagina, talk to it, get to know it, listen to it, and stop looking for outside validation. Stop looking for permission to do something. I have a feeling that a lot of women that are married are looking for validation from their partner to do something. And you just are afraid to do it, and you're wanting that external validation from your lover. And I'm not talking about sleeping with another person, unless you're a swinger. If you're a swinger, that's fine. There's plenty of swingers out there. But yeah, if you're trying to do something and you're looking for outside validation, you're going to be very sorely let down, and you're not going to be fulfilled. You're not going to be fulfilled. And I look forward to the future because Something will be born. There, I am giving birth to something with this right now. I don't know exactly what it is, but I really want women to tune into their body, and I really want them to get to know their vagina and also get to know their heart. And if I need to wake up at 5:30 or 5:45 and listen to my heart, listen to my heartbeat, and listen to my vagina, and it tell me, that thing tells me what I need. This is what you need. You need to do this cleanse, or you need to go to this event over here, and this is what you need to do. Fine. If that's what it takes, if I need 45 minutes in the morning, every morning, to do my own spiritual practice, then I will do it. Um, and there's so many people out there that just do. And that's basically what I became once I declared myself an atheist. I just was a doing machine. And I meditated, but it kind of wasn't the same because I was so angry. Go back into my videos and watch them. Go back to like 2008, 2010, 2011, 2012. I was listening to a lot of atheist experience, and I was very angry. I wasn't a very happy person back then. Um, and I'm much more joyful. There's a deep sounding joy within my soul. I'm not angry at people like I used to be back then in those days. So I'm going to sign off, and I'm going to find out how to post that video so you guys can listen to that. It's like I want to say it's like an hour. I want to say like it's an hour long video. And I think I think I listened to about 20 minutes of it or something like that. But yeah, it's 40 something minutes. It's 42 minutes, her video. And I am going to have to spend some time on this Alyssa Allister's YouTube channel. And I'm going to actually have to see if she has a web page. So, yeah, I'm going to go now. And I'm looking forward to what's coming down the pike. Because me and Verizon, no, it's not a passion, guys. It's not a passion. It's great that I can earn commission, and you know, if I sell like 40 or 50 or $60,000 worth of product, maybe I'll get a $600 commission check. Or if I sell 60 to 70,000 merchandise, $70,000, $60,000 worth of merchandise, maybe I can get I'd have to do the math, but maybe I can get $1,000 or $1,200 net commission check. But it's just not a passion of mine. Selling phones, watches, tablets, VHI, perks for Verizon, just isn't a passion of mine. Talking about sex, talking about going within, talking about the body, somatic experience, exercise, ecstatic dance, really getting to know your body, really getting to know where you feel what in the body, and and having people like feel comfortable. Like if I can feel comfortable with my body, and I can feel comfortable talking about sex and all those things related to sex, then maybe I can lead a group of women, because there's a lot of shame out there, and you can't move through if there's shame. You just can't. Uh, there's so many people that are unaware. They don't even know what they feel, because they just do. They don't be. They just do. And they don't have a spiritual practice. And when you're not aware of why you do what you do, it's kind of hard to change your life. It's kind of hard to change your life. I went to work on Tuesday, the day after New Year's, and I was in bliss. Do I like working at Costco? I mean, I don't work for Costco. I work at Costco, but I do not work for. They're not my employer. I just work inside the Costco as a vendor. And I just looked around at the lights, and it was a warehouse, and there was product. And do I love retail? No. Do I love it? No, I don't. I do not like retail. I do not like sales. I'd rather be learning accounting and learning QuickBooks and something like that where I don't have to talk to people, especially not about phones. But that particular day, I was in bliss. It didn't matter what anybody said to me. It didn't matter what anybody said or did. It didn't matter if I was told I had to sell 15 phones that day or 15 VHI that day, and of course, fine, whatever. They could say whatever. I know my worth, and I'm worth more than putting myself through a job that I hate. I'm done. I'm done, guys. I know my worth, and my worth is more than slaving away at a job I hate. I'm just not going to do it anymore. And if you're with me, then follow me. I got to get some equipment and I got to make a green screen. I got to ask my friend, how do you do this? How do you make a green screen? What do I need? How do I do it? Because I have only 450 square feet in this place and I got to make it look nice. And I'm tired of bringing my computer out of my bedroom into the living room. It's not even plugged into power right now. So, point as I do more videos like I did back in the day, way back in 2008. Those videos were long too, guys. So I gotta go. It's getting late.